Welcome to Saber Duel Gaming, where we always take the high ground. And finally, I am doing a retro review where that catchphrase fits. We are finally doing a Star Wars and a Star Wars Episode 1 pod racer, specifically for the Nintendo 64 and the Switch port. When Phantom Menace Star Wars Episode 1 came out, there was one poster boy. There was one character we loved, one action we wanted to do. We didn't want this. We did not want this. But we got this. Star Wars Episode 1 Pod Racer. The scene that some people apparently loved in the film, yet every single person, myself included, every single person I spoke to said they found it boring as hell. When they released the DVD, they even released an extended edition of this scene in it as a bonus, and it was even more boring. But that didn't necessarily mean that a game of it was boring. Watching something and partaking in it are two very different things. So, how did the Phantom Menace scene that put us to sleep translate into a computer game, a video game? Well, let's find out. Right from the get-go, let me be clear. I know not everyone felt the same way. I know that a lot of people probably really enjoyed the pod racer scene. And if you did, you probably loved this game. And I can understand that. Visually, it's stunning. The cutscenes especially were amazing. The menu screens felt like you were genuinely in a cantina, or you were in that garage really fixing that pod racer. So for those people that loved that scene in the film, I can understand why they would really love this game. I personally found the game a little bit boring, a little bit repetitive. It didn't help that the pod racing had only been seen in Star Wars on Tatooine. They'd mentioned Malastare, but other than that, we were travelling to worlds and seeing different locations that we'd not seen before. And while that can be a good thing, that can give you a bit of variety and explore that greater universe, often you want to see in your game the worlds and the places that you've seen in the films. Those places come to life. And maybe that was the problem. Its gameplay was fine, there was no problem with that. But as a Star Wars game, it was based on one scene that apparently at least half the fanbase found boring. It was set in all these different locations, the majority of which people didn't know or have an interest in. And it was about characters that were, quite frankly, the least interesting characters in the film. And this resulted in some very mixed ratings, with it getting marks of anything from about 5 out of 10 to 9 out of 10, in the 60% mark to somewhere up in the 90s. People just didn't really know what to do with it or what to make of the game. And that sort of left it in a very special place when you look at it from a retro viewpoint. So, where exactly does it rank from that viewpoint? When you go back to it now, and when I played this for the review, I had gone a long time without playing it. And I was shocked. I genuinely enjoyed it going back, probably a lot more than I did at the time, and maybe in the same way that a lot of people looking back to the prequel trilogy think those films are a lot better than maybe they did in the past. The game was fun to play, it was easy to play, and what I will say is, especially on the Switch port, having played both that and the Nintendo 64 original, the Switch port plays a lot easier. Maybe the controls just work better, but even the Nintendo 64 version is a lot better than I expected it to be going back. So as a retro review, I'd say this probably gets a 7 out of 10. It's not amazing, but it's better than I remember. So while we wanted this, maybe looking back, we should appreciate what we had with this. Thanks very much for watching, everybody. Please drop a like and a comment below, and feel free to subscribe. And I'd like to give a shout out to one very special follower, Ollie. Thanks for watching, bud.